Today's video is sponsored by Copilot Fitness, but more on them later. So I've been going consistently to the gym for the past 6 or so months now. And here are my thoughts on how my perception of my body is changing. You know, when you're younger and everyone tells you, and they still do to the day, to be fair, that no one notices you as much as you notice yourself. Like, you become paranoid when you are out in public or on Instagram and you think, oh, people are going to notice this flaw on my face, or, you know, the bulge of tummy that is showing out of my dress. And you become self-conscious and people tell you not to worry, no one notices. But what if they do? And that has become a more realistic concept in the world of social media online. See, I had this realization, strangely, a couple of years ago when I was on the dating apps, and a chap commented on how I wore real glasses. And this was on messaging. We're messaging back and forth. And I thought to myself, yes, I wear real glasses. Why do you say that? And he sent me a screenshot of my own profile picture where he'd zoomed in on my face and he'd taken a screenshot of my face with my glasses and said, you see, your face is refracted, so I know you're wearing real glasses. And that disturbed me beyond belief, because now I became hyper aware that people are zooming in on one another. Now, perhaps this is a byproduct of conspiracy theories and people becoming so suspicious in a world of Instagram models where they're photoshopping and they're changing everything and AI images. But the idea that people are zooming in and completely picking apart images that were something of a byproduct in the 90s. Obviously, celebrities were subjected to such scrutiny, whether they had gained weight or lost weight or the baby fat had gone. That has now become the norm of our society, where we are picking apart one another constantly. We are zooming in, and whether they are admiring someone's changes or hate picking apart someone's bodies, people's bodies are now becoming subject to extreme scrutiny. And then potentially that is the byproduct of paranoia in a world of Photoshop. But because people already used to pick apart people's bodies online, you know, whether that was a celebrity via the gross tabloid media and photographers to make clickbait articles, people became paranoid and they started changing how they appeared online. People started photoshopping their pictures, people started taking out blemishes, changing the shape of their lips, their eyebrows, their nose, their waists, to the point that we don't even know what we look like, and to the point that people will then pursue plastic surgery to change how they appear, because their own images that they edit are far more appealing to them than their own bodies. And as someone who has gone through all the scales, I was an overweight child. I was also an anorexic, nearly died of anorexia in my early 20s and was hospitalized, to the point that I'm now completely healthy. I'm not underweight, I'm not overweight, I have a healthy BMI, and I've always been quite a sporty-ish person. I've always engaged in some form of sport, whether that was a netball team, cross country. I've run several marathons. I would say 5 years I've been weight training, and I was a dancer in musical theatre. So I've always been a very active person, whether I identified as a sporty person or not. But my relationship with my body has always been uncomfortable. I've never felt happy in my body, regardless of the scale that I was on. I was never content with how I appeared in the mirror, and I've always been self-conscious of it. And I've already discussed in a previous video about how I felt self-conscious going to the gym because I look ugly. I'm not, perfectly skinny or fit. I'm just kind of like meh. I feel like my body is just a very medium meh kind of body that can be easily criticized by anyone who is a fitness fanatic. I'm not perfect with my diet or my fitness regime, but I've got me thinking now at the age of 32 that there's never really going to be an answer that's external to myself. My relationship with my body is never changing because my mindset about it is not changing. Whilst my weight has completely fluctuated and changed throughout, my relationship with my body is seen through a lens of social understandings. I look at my body entirely in terms of social standings of where I am, aesthetically speaking. I always analyse myself as unattractive based on how little attraction I got from people of the opposite sex when I was looking for relationships. I base myself on my attractiveness and perfectionism when I was an influencer online, and people could see if my body looked skinny enough to be a social media influencer. I then also looked at my body in terms of popularity at school. Being an overweight person meant I was already not part of the popular popular clique and was often mocked by people who were much skinnier and in the popular pretty kind of corner of the room. Also, then you become self-conscious of the number on your clothing to say what size of clothing you're wearing, as if anyone cares that I'm wearing a large or a size 8 or a small or an extra small. No one else knows. But I never evaluated my body based on its performance and how it carried me through the world. I've always looked at it entirely as an aesthetic thing to adjust, never how well it carried me through the multiple marathons that I have run or the hills that I have hiked. I have danced like multiple shows in a row and being physically exhausted at the end of it, but still recovered without any injuries. I've never evaluated my body in terms of like recovery and injury and performance in terms of how well it does something, whether that's a workout regime or work through something like a walk or a hike. I've never credited my body for doing those things and how it carried me through these experiences. It's always been entirely on how I look, and I think at the age of 32 I need to change that. But actually what has really helped me with this adjustment has been my relationship with my today's sponsor, which is Copilot Fitness, because for the past 6 months I've been going to the gym with a new outlook. I was changing how I approached and almost leaning into being unattractive at the gym. I was going not to look aesthetically pleasing, and I was going with the mindset I was changing myself to be a character from a story. And that character from a story could do really cool adventure things like lift heavy weights out of her way and things like that. And Copilot Fitness has really helped me stay consistent with the gym, and not just me, but also my partner. I've been taking him to the gym too. We really love going together and making a little team effort of it, and we are consistent with it because we don't want to break the streak because Copilot Fitness keeps you on a streak, helps me remain consistent and also highly flexible. So if my partner and I recently were traveling, so we couldn't actually go to a gym, but I contact my personal trainer, who is Lauren, and I can tell her any injuries that I have, so I can't do something like I tore one of the muscles in my tricep a few weeks ago and told her, and she adjusted the workouts for me so I didn't have to touch that muscle until it was fully healed. Also, I thought I would have to contact her recently because I slammed my finger in a door, as you can probably see, and I thought I broke it, and I thought, oh, I'll have to contact her. How do I go to the gym and hold anything? Thankfully, it's just a massive bruise, but you know, I could have contacted Lauren to help me with that. And also, it's so nice to have to just go to the gym and not have to think about it, because Lauren deals with all of my workouts, so she plans them all for me. I just have to show up, and on my own time scale. I don't have to pick a particular day. I can change the days of the week. I can pick at any time of the day I want, whether it's morning or late at night. Whenever I fancy going to the gym, I just show up and the workout is pre-prepared for me. I just go through it, and it always changes. Like every couple of weeks I get a whole new set of workouts, and just like it's like a little surprise in the morning. I'm like, oh, a whole new regime. And sometimes I'm doing machines that I'd never done before, but thankfully, because Copilot Fitness shows you, there's a video format of where you can see how the exercise is performed correctly. I watch that to see how I'm performing it. Now, I'm not someone who really weighs herself because of my past experience with eating disorders. So the changes that I've noticed have not been physical in terms of I haven't noticed if my weight has fluctuated, but I do notice I'm getting stronger, and to the point that I actually have to keep bumping up the numbers, because you can change the weight. So Lauren may tell me to do like 15 reps of 8 kilograms, and if that's too easy, I can bump it up to more reps or more weight, so I can aim up. So I tend to normally add at least 2 kilograms if it's too easy for me. And if you're interested in getting your own personal trainer and your own personalized workouts for you, for your means, whether that's losing weight or gaining muscle, then you can click my Copilot Fitness link in the description down below and get 14 days free trial with a personal trainer. I think what I've come to accept in my 30s now is that how my body performs is beyond what it looks aesthetically, and I'm enjoying how my body feels. And yes, that doesn't mean negating things like fitness or eating healthy, because no, it includes all of that. But having a more relaxed attitude to my body not being perfect, and accepting that I'm not going to have a flat tummy. I'm not going to have a tiny rib cage, because that's just not how my body works. I've been all sizes and it has never shrunk down my rib cage size. I basically remain the exact same up here because that's my skeleton. And understanding that I'm not going to be tall and leggy like Taylor Swift because I'm only 5'1", or accepting that I won't have a teeny tiny skinny shoulders and then going out perfectly curved like a pear shape, because that's just not how my body looks. And I have tested the extremes of my body. Technically, I've gone through all the stages and realized that actually what's in the way is my mental state, and how I'm evaluating the success of my body and the success of me as a person and my relationship with my body. If all these external factors were not valid, if all these external factors were not an issue or did not exist, how would I feel about my body? And the answer is, I'd be fine with it. Like if I wasn't self-conscious of, only being a size 8 and not a size 6 in the UK sizing, if I wasn't self-conscious about having a bit of a tummy and not having a 24-inch waist, or only being small because other people don't deem that attractive. If I were to look at myself and ask myself, well, what do I care about? The answer would be, well, I care about the fact that I was able to hike up a massive mountain. And I care about the fact that I was able to run those several marathons and I'm really proud of them. I care about the fact that I can lift certain weights. I just like being me. I like existing in it, and I like taking that body to new places, whether that's ruins on a Scottish highland or down the street in a local bookshop. We've got to a stage in our life where people do pay more attention to our bodies than we would like to think that they do. People do zoom in and evaluate themselves, but I have to accept that that's not out of potential malice. It's out of their own insecurities. It's out of how they feel within their own bodies, and what a more wonderful world it would be if we celebrated people's accomplishments rather than their aestheticisms. If we celebrated how cool that person was because they did a marathon rather than the little tiny belly rolls that showed up on the photograph at the end of the marathon picture. Wouldn't it be fantastic if we just looked at how we were performing in life and how we were experiencing our bodies, whether that's feeling sand or grass beneath our bare feet, or just stroking our partner's hand back and forth and realizing that's a more significant thing in this world than the circumference of our waists. The more we learn to love who we are, the more we'll lean into enjoying the experiences of eating fresh fruit and vegetables rather than more unhealthy things, because we're upset and we're sad and we're running away and hiding away from our experiences of within our bodies. And I suppose there's a degree of spiritualism about this that I lack as someone who is not spiritual slightly. But I had a moment at the weekend when I was near Stonehaven and just standing there looking at the water and my partner and this huge cliff edge castle and thinking to myself, there's so much more to the world than the definitions that we are given. The world around me does not care that I'm not a size 6. And it also doesn't care how I climbed this mountain, how I walked up those steps. But I felt joy when I climbed up this huge, steep step mountain, and I recovered within 30 seconds. I was slightly out of breath, but I recovered very quickly. And I thought to myself, that's from training. I enjoyed that experience, and I wasn't in pain. I had no injuries. I was healthy and fit enough to walk up this staircase up the side of this mountain. And I got to experience all of that because I cared for myself in little ways, not in aesthetic ways, but in little ways, in going to the gym, in eating healthy, in maintaining my life balance. And I was enjoying life for experiencing it through my body and embracing my body for letting me do that rather than how it looked. I wasn't there for photographs. I didn't take photographs of myself there. And it was just me enjoying life and enjoying the experience of existing. And I really am grateful for this work with Copilot Fitness, because they have really helped me really challenge myself to keep going to the gym on those awkward days when I feel really ugly and I feel all pudgy and I don't feel pretty. I just go and I do it and I have fun, because I didn't have to overthink it. I either listened to my podcast or I was with my partner and just having fun in the gym and laughing that we're all sweaty and gross together. And that in of itself is beautiful. That's the fun of it all. And that's living life, not as a byproduct of aestheticism, but actually just embracing me for me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in also getting your own personal trainer and your personal fitness plan, click my link down below in the description box. I hope you find it as helpful as I did. And I will see you soon for another video. Remember, books save lives, so keep reading.